She didn't deserve it anyway. Take her away. She's not even part of our family. That's what my sister said when I found my daughter's cake in the trash. The same cake I'd stayed up all night baking, pink swirls and butterfly toppers she picked herself. It was supposed to be a joint birthday for all the cousins. But when we arrived, there were no balloons, no seat for my daughter. No one even said her name. And now here I was, holding a half-melted cake with plastic wings and crushed dreams, while my sister grinned like she hadn't just shattered a 7-year-old's heart. Hi everyone. My name is Cambria Lee, I'm 28, and if you think this is just another story about toxic family, stay tuned. Because what they tried to humiliate in front of everyone, I turned into a lesson they'll never forget. As my daughter clung to my leg, I bent down and whispered, "You did nothing wrong. You deserve every good thing." Then without another word, I picked up the ruined cake, held her hand and walked away from that backyard full of clapping cousins and forced smiles. No one followed. No one cared. But what they didn't know was that the next morning, I'd wake up to 23 missed calls from my sister. The same sister who once told me I was barely part of the family. Because something had gone horribly wrong with her wedding booking. And the only person who could fix it was me. Funny how karma likes to RSVP. When I saw her name flash on my phone 22 times, I didn't answer. Not out of spite, but because I already knew what she wanted. What my family didn't know was that I'd been the one to recommend their wedding venue. A tiny private estate on the cliffs. I'd worked a catering job there years ago and kept a great relationship with the owners. They didn't advertise online. No social pages, no website, only referrals. And the referral had come through me. But yesterday, after the birthday disaster, I sent the venue manager a short email. Please remove the Parkerwells wedding booking under my name. I'm no longer involved. And just like that, the date disappeared. Because it was never booked under her name. It was booked under mine. She must have found out around midnight, because that's when the calls started. I sat there in the dark, brushing my daughter's curls as she slept beside me, her little face finally calm. "You're not an outsider, baby," I whispered. "They are." By morning, my mom had joined the panic parade. Text after text. "Cambria, we need to talk. Your sister's venue says the booking is gone. Are you doing this to ruin her wedding?" "Oh no, Mom. You did that when you clapped as my daughter cried. When you raised a toast while I wiped frosting off the grass." I made one calm call to the venue manager. "Don't release the date to anyone else. Just leave it empty." When my sister showed up at my door at 11 a.m., fake tears, mascara streaks, heels in hand, I smiled. She still didn't know I had one more surprise. "Cambria," she gasped. "Please, I didn't mean it. Mom made me say that stuff about your daughter." I tilted my head. "You mean when she said my child doesn't belong in this family?" Her lips quivered. "It was just stress. Please, the venue canceled the whole thing and the caterer backed out too. They said your name was on all of it." That was true. Every vendor, the flowers, the band, the signature cocktails she bragged about on Instagram had been booked through me. She looked smaller than I remembered. Not because she'd shrunk, but because I'd grown. "You'll figure something out," I said, keeping the door half open. "But the wedding's in 6 days, Cam." I leaned against the frame. "You mean the party celebrating the baby you said my daughter didn't deserve to live?" Her face drained of color. "Oh yes. That part had slipped out during the cake scene. You weren't even supposed to have her," she'd muttered, not knowing I heard. I reached into the bowl by the door and pulled out an envelope. "I actually came to give you this," I said, handing it to her. She blinked. "What is it?" "My blessing for the new venue. I called a cheaper one last night, told them you'd be reaching out." Tears welled in her eyes. You did that for me?" I smiled. "Of course." She clutched the envelope to her chest, relieved, until I added softly, "Oh, but I gave them your real budget. You know, the one you've actually earned." And I shut the door. Behind it, my daughter giggled. Because we weren't done yet. I knelt beside her. She was still building a crooked tower of wooden blocks, focused and unfazed. I kissed her forehead. "You did nothing wrong," I whispered. "Someday she'll ask why Nana and Aunt Annie didn't come to her party. Why her cake was in the trash. Why they said those cruel things. But today, all she needed was truth wrapped in gentleness." "I know," she mumbled. Then added, "They were mean, but we're not." "No, sweetheart," I smiled. "We're not." My phone buzzed again. Mom voicemail. Then another from the venue manager. Cambria, they tried to use your deposit, but I told them it was refunded to your name. You're all cleared. Want us to block them from rebooking? I didn't hesitate. Yes. Block them, and send the final notice to her personally. They thought they could use me again. Fund their image. Tarnish mine. But what they never expected was that the forgotten daughter had stopped forgiving. By evening, their little wedding dream was unraveling like old lace. Florist cancelled, photographer pulled out, and even my brother Ezra texted. You should have been there for her. I laughed. Because for once I was there. Just not the way they expected. Get it now? I can't believe what she said to your kid. It made me freeze. Was he taking my side? I didn't reply. Not yet. Because just then I received a message from someone I never expected. My aunt. We rarely spoke. I heard what happened. Can we meet? I have something to show you. Attached was a photo. My mother and sister holding my daughter's birthday cake days before the party. Laughing like it was all just a rehearsal. The cake was unmistakable. Pink frosting. Silver lettering. Little sugar butterflies. All custom. But in the photo it wasn't on our table. It was sitting on my mother's kitchen counter. Days before my daughter's birthday. They had used it. Mocked it. Like it was some inside joke. My fingers trembled as I typed. Where did you get this? She replied instantly. I was there. I left early. I didn't know what they were planning until later. I didn't say anything then, but after what your sister said to your daughter, I can't stay quiet. I stared at the screen. The cake wasn't forgotten. It was never meant for my daughter. They used her celebration as a setup, a background for their twisted little theater. And I had paid for every part of it. The bounce house. The decorations. Even the balloons they refused to hang. Then another message came through, this time from my mother. You have 24 hours to fix this with the venue. I've already told them you'll pay again. Stop acting like a child. I didn't reply. Instead I sent a single screenshot, the photo from my aunt, and then I blocked her. That night I sat on the kitchen floor. My daughter was asleep beside me, her hand resting on my leg like a tether. And I realized something. They never hated me. They just never saw me. Not as a daughter. Not as a sister. Just as a source. Till now. The next morning I put on a clean shirt, brushed my hair and opened my laptop. The wedding was 5 days away, and I had just logged into the one account they'd all forgotten I still had access to. It was from my old job, a shared vendor dashboard where I once managed event logistics for high-profile clients. Years ago, I'd quietly registered my mother's name under that account when she begged me to help plan my sister's engagement. Back then she hadn't even said thank you. Now she'd forgotten it existed. Big mistake. I pulled up the wedding vendor list. Venue, booked in my name. Caterer, booked in my name. Decor, deposit paid, balance pending. Florist, same. DJ, chairs, tables, tent, all under me. Why? Because she'd used my old templates and contacted the same vendors I'd worked with for years. She didn't build a wedding. She stole one. I didn't cancel anything that day. Instead I made one call to each vendor. Not to shut it down but to freeze access. Pause everything. No one but me can approve changes or payments. If anyone calls, tell them it's under review. They agreed. Then I emailed the venue attaching screenshots of my mother's texts. I will no longer be covering this event. Please invoice the rightful party. No explanation. Just that. And then I waited. By the next evening my cousin, the only one who'd sent my daughter a card, messaged me. You okay? Aunt Laurie's in full meltdown. Venue cancelled everything. Flowers too. I typed, then paused and simply replied. Tell her I'm focusing on people who show up. That night my sister posted on Instagram, pretending nothing had happened. But the next morning her post was gone, and so were the wedding decorations. Removed from the venue's official schedule. They were scrambling. But I wasn't done yet. By Friday morning the group chat was on fire. Mom had renamed it Urgent Wedding Chaos, as if that would make me flinch. I don't know what's gotten into you, she texted. You've always been selfish, but this is your sister's big moment. Selfish. That word sat like a rusted knife in my chest. I hadn't asked for designer gifts. I hadn't demanded praise. I just wanted acknowledgement that I existed. Instead I'd spent years being the family wallet. My credit card booked their trips. My work bonuses paid their mortgage. And when I invited them to my daughter's birthday, they didn't forget. They discarded her. So I didn't reply to the group chat. I went online and quietly updated the restaurant's website. Now accepting private events. Within hours I had 2 bookings. Real people. Strangers who didn't know my pain, and didn't pretend I didn't matter. Then the phone rang. It was the venue coordinator speaking softly. "Hi. We've received 19 calls from your family. They're claiming you made unauthorized changes, but your name is on every file, every payment, every contract." I thanked her, then asked her to send one last email. Subject: outstanding balance for wedding services. Immediate attention required. Recipient: my mother. By evening, my mom's Facebook page had gone dark. No wedding countdown. No brag posts. Just a black profile picture. But that silence didn't mean surrender. Because at 11:58 p.m., a message lit up my screen. "We need to talk. Please don't ruin your sister's life over some cake." I took a screenshot and replied, "This isn't about the cake. This is about everything you threw away." Then I scrolled through old texts. "Can you cover the deposit? Ezra needs a new laptop. We'll pay you back. We didn't invite you because you're too sensitive." I used to read those and flinch. Now they felt like case files. Evidence. I opened my notes app and typed a single announcement. "Due to repeated disrespect and erasure, I've chosen to step back from family events. This includes financial assistance, emotional labor, and attendance. I'm not angry. I'm simply done. Wishing you all clarity and healing." I posted it at 9 a.m. By noon my inbox was full. Some angry, some sarcastic, some silent. But one message stood out from my cousin Ava. "I saw your post." I cried. I felt the same way for years. "Thank you for saying it. You gave me the courage to say no too." And just like that, I wasn't alone. That evening I took my daughter out for ice cream. She giggled as chocolate melted down her wrist. No one sneered. No one judged. No one threw anything away. We walked home hand in hand, past the same event venue that once refused us entry. This time the banner out front said, "Closed for private event. Booked by owner." I smiled. I hadn't burned bridges. I'd simply lit my own path. One where my daughter would never have to wonder if she belonged. Because this time, I chose.